welcome to the Bitcoin Business Podcast hosted by Sovereign. I'm your host, Brandon Karpeles. And today I have with me Kit from goldentallow.com. And Kit makes facial creams and lotions out of pure quality ingredients like any good Bitcoiner. She doesn't use any of the processed poison stuff that so many of these um, cosmetic products have. And my wife is someone who has gone crazy down this rabbit hole. And obviously, after this, I'm going to have to introduce her to Golden Tallow now. But she has definitely searched out the grass fed tallow products and all of that. So I'd love to hear how you got to this point. It's interesting because, when I started dating my wife and then married my wife, I was very into sort of ketogenic carnivore diet, that sort of thing, and really espousing the benefits of eating right and how much that helps you. But I really never went down sort of the everything we put on and in our body is poisonous, and we're surrounded by poison. All this drywall and insulation, and just all our furniture is made out of plastic. Everything we drink is out of plastic. Everything we put on our body is out of plastic. We store stuff in plastic, and it's just on and on and on. And I kind of was just, all right, whatever. I drink the tap water out of a plastic cup and whatever, it is what it is. But my wife really went hard down this rabbit hole and was like, no, this stuff is terrible for you. There's all these different studies about how bad all these microplastics and these different chemicals, and we should be drinking out of a glass pitcher, and we should be getting raw milk, and we should be getting cage-free farm fresh eggs, not the white ones from Target, and all this different stuff. And she really opened my eyes to a lot of that stuff. And I don't use too many products per se. I'm kind of fortunate that just my body kind of balances itself. But I do love the tallow lip balm that is huge in the winters around here in Chicago. It gets super dry. And if you're out in the wind, your lips get destroyed. So that's been super nice. And putting and occasionally being out in the sun a little too much too. I'll throw some tallow balm on some red areas, and that usually cleans it up overnight. And so I'm a big believer in all of these products. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came to your understanding about all this stuff and figured out how important this is to be putting good stuff on us and in us.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Bitcoin is its own rabbit hole, and then it like branches out into all these other different rabbit holes, as you mentioned. So, I've read, of course, like all of Safety Dean's books, the Bitcoin standard, the fiat standard, which goes into even like architecture and why buildings aren't built as good as they should be because the materials are cheaper. And then it makes you question the food. It makes you question everything. So, beauty products also is grouped into all of that. So I originally was on Bitcoin Twitter and saw a lot of people talking about the carnivore diet, like you mentioned. I didn't necessarily start it right away when I saw it. It was about like a year or so later on that I ended up getting a blood test randomly done. And I found out that I had pre-diabetes just like a little bit into it. So, of course, knowing about carnivore diet already and seeing a lot of people's success in it, I already knew like what to do. So that was pretty crazy in itself. But
Yeah, that's so awesome. I'm so jealous of you. I've said it before on this podcast, but I think I'm the only person who figured out the food thing before Bitcoin. And the same as you, I had all sorts of health issues. I didn't have prediabetes, but asthma, eczema, allergies, all this stuff.
yeah,
And it was all because of my diet. And I to figure it out on my own and listening to some obscure folks back in like 2015 before such a proliferation of material on this stuff took off. So I'm so glad you found that. I'm so glad to hear that. But just
yeah.
wanted to that. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I heard about Bitcoin back in 2014 at a party. My friend was buying some stuff off the Silk Road.
I,
And so then,
you bring party the stuff you got off.
well, I mean, I don't know, maybe. um, but yeah, so my touch point was like 2019. I was living paycheck to paycheck and just questioning everything because I was making a lot of money in IT contracting in DC area. So it was kind of weird, but rent was a lot. But I was just like, I don't know if I can necessarily save for a house, or even if I met someone and was married, would we together be able to like have a house, like and be able to have, you know, the yearly vacations or raise kids. It just wasn't really adding up to me. So I left DC and I ended up going to Colorado. I moved in with a college roommate for a while. And when I quit my job from DC, I was gonna just full-time blog. I used to be a lifestyle blogger, but I've shut that down since then. But that's another tie-in. I've was doing a lot of skincare products, so I tested out a bunch of stuff, like from Neutrogena, Urban Decay would send me makeup and different things, a lot of different skincare product lines. But then, of course, I found Tallow. Shout out to Claire and Fritz, like that's where I ordered my first Tallow from, and I really enjoyed it, like how it made my skin feel. They have a really
That's awesome.
beautiful brand, so shout out to them for sure.
That's so funny when the guy who edits and produces all these videos, he's a friend of mine, and when I put the title of this episode into our software manager for the episodes, he asked if it was it Clear and Fritz?
Yeah,
Is that it?
Clara and Fritz.
Yeah, he asked if it was them. I said no, it's not. It's Golden Tallow, someone else. So
Yeah.
funny that that connection was made.
Yeah, I of course found them through the Bitcoin community because they take Bitcoin also. I really loved the skincare. Didn't really think like at first like, oh, I'm gonna do this product because like I like it so much. I just was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna switch this. I can use this one thing instead of like all these other creams that I'm using on my face. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, from there, basically like I started Golden Tallow like since from buying like Claire and Fritz, it was probably like a year and a half later. I was working at Bitcoin Magazine in the conference, and I got laid off. There was a bunch of people that get laid off then at that time, and I tried to go back to IT tech jobs. I applied to like 700 or 800 jobs. Realized it wasn't working over a period of like 7, 8 months, and usually on my resume is really good. I have a lot of certifications, so usually people like headhunt me in a sense. You know, I'm never really without a job, so it was kind of strange at that point. But knowing about the money and how that's affecting everything started to make me question if I even wanted to go back to work at that point. So I started Golden Tallow after that. Just I was looking at the market and realizing, or like you know, the industry and realizing there's a lot of silly cow logos out there. I'll even screenshot it every single time and send it to one of my Bitcoiner friends and be like, look, it's another one.
Yeah.
So there was really no like luxury niche in there per se. So that's what I want to target and kind of reach more of like people who aren't thinking about maybe like healthy skincare per se. They're just like kind of in the luxury niche. It's more newbies that I can educate on this and why they should switch from chemical to a more natural ingredient that's healthier for them. That kind of thing.
So, a couple things. One, so when you were trying out all these other products, were you just noticing that your skin wasn't feeling good, or you were getting more patches instead of less patches? I'm just curious as to your experience. And then from that, was it, I like to laugh as a Bitcoiner of all these people as a where's your Harvard study or whatever. It's like I don't need a Harvard study. I changed my diet. I lost 30 pounds. I feel better at 40 than I did at 20. Like I just did it and I feel great. And that's my study. My study is living it out in my life. And so I'm curious if you sort of were taking all these old products, switched to these new products, noticed a huge difference, or were you actually like, okay, I'm looking at these documents, I see how bad these ingredients are, and oh, also over here, here's some information. Magically, it's always from like 1932 that oh, actually, tallow is really good to rub on our skin, and we should be using that for sunburn instead of something made by the banana Tropicana, or I don't even remember the sunscreen names. It's been so long since I used them. Um, but I'm curious as to kind of how you got to um, got to the point where you're like, okay, these ingredients are far superior. I'm going to make that product.
Yeah, so there wasn't anything necessarily super bad or wrong with them. My skin is kind of resilient. I do have a little bit of eczema, which tallow is good for. It takes maybe 3 days of consistently putting it on versus if you get a subscription or prescription, you're going to an event that night, you should use your prescription. Like it'll get rid of it within an hour, 2 hours, whatever. Um, but I didn't notice drastic changes with any of the products that I was using, all the face masks or under eye creams, any of the lip balms. Like the lip balms are pretty good. But when I use tallow, usually I have like a little bit of eczema like around here and I don't or cuts on my face sometimes. I don't like to put prescription on my face. I noticed that that cleared up a lot and my skin was just super super soft. It felt different, like a different texture than any other product that I've ever used. So that was really kind of the selling point for me in that sense.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you did the real life study, which I always find is the best. And I always find it that it's so hilarious that there's all these people that will challenge you and say, "Oh no, you need a balanced diet," or "Oh no, sugar's fine," and all. It's just like I lived it. It's not, and I feel like crap when I eat sugar. I get itchy. Like I uh, do not do as well eating a lot of vegetables and fruits. Like I gain weight. I am much more sneezy and coughy during the spring and pollen season. So it's like I just have actually lived these things, and I think that's an interesting point you bring up. Is that you are more resilient to these things, and I think a lot of people are um, actually more resilient to this stuff, and it really hides how bad this stuff is for us. It's we're like slowly deteriorating genetically, but we haven't fully deteriorated yet. So I think some people. I'm just super sensitive when it comes to all this stuff. I guess I got a bad genetic hand, or I'm farther down the devolution of humanity, or something like that. But it is so insidious that these products are able to get away with selling this stuff to us when it really is not good for us.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive to all the food, like you're saying. If I go over like 9 grams of carbs, then my body starts craving the sugar and the carbs, and it's kind of out of control. I use an app called Chronometer to track all of it right now. Um, and it's interesting to see that like just small, like 10 grams of carbs isn't a lot, but pushing out a ketosis at a certain point really like has a chemical reaction in your body. And it's insane. I used to be like a food blogger as well within the lifestyle stuff that I did, and I can't believe that I would go out and eat so much like I did back then.
I look at some of the things I used to eat, and I'm just like, how am I alive right now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Seriously.
it's like, oh yeah, no wonder people get pretty straight on. I'm just like, yeah, um, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So how did you come to decide on the ingredients you're actually using? Did you experiment a ton? How did you get the final product?
I got really lucky. Like, I don't know if luck or God was definitely part of this big thing for sure, especially with sourcing out my tallow because I wanted it to be a luxury brand. So I wanted it to be Wagyu tallow from those types of cows. I also looked up what's the best essential oil. So I get lavender scented from Plant Therapy. They're a very good company. And I also wanted the best extra virgin olive oil. So I got cold pressed extra virgin olive oil from a very reputable source. So, but finding the tallow, that was very challenging. I wanted it to be grass fed. I wanted no vaccines in it. The whole rigmarole. I wanted to make sure that it was very clean compared to like some of the other stuff because I don't personally like to eat grocery store steak and meat. I'm just very paranoid, like you mentioned about the eggs, where you're sourcing those. I haven't gone too crazy about that, but here I always think about it a little bit when I eat it. I try to go to local farms to get stuff, but I'm so busy I can't always drive. And shipping eggs here, I got to get better about it, right? And I'm in Virginia right now, so I can't get raw milk, but I love raw milk.
Raw milk's the best. Yeah, we have an Amish spot here we can get it from. I don't drink it too much because there is a lot of sugar in it, but
Right.
it's so funny you mentioned that I about the animals and everything. Yeah, we source our cow locally from a guy who accepts Bitcoin as well. We found a farm. I'm in Chicago. We found a farm in Indiana that ships to us. That super clean on their eggs. Everything. We go through so many eggs in this house. It's absolutely insane. Um, but I love the story. I hear over and over talking to these business owners who are making products for people. Uh, it's incredible to see Bitcoiners. They care so much about the ingredients. Like that is what matters. I was talking to Oshi, who it went, same thing, had to go through hoops to go source his pecans. I talked to uh, uh, Jason Rick from Rick Ranches, who
Yeah.
raises his cattle in a sustainable way, and it's way harder. It takes way more. I talked to Soap Miner on here, who same thing, sourcing his tallow. He's like, I am a guy. I know exactly how the cows are raised. I know exactly how it's processed, and that's the only stuff I will use. And I love hearing the attention to the ingredients, the detail amongst Bitcoiners, and it's something we've harped on this podcast over and over again. Just how much Bitcoiners care about quality ingredients. And, of course, when you use quality ingredients, you want quality money to pay for your ingredients.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's super important what you put on your skin or put in your body, like eat and put in your body. It gives you energy, and that's how you're gonna feel for the day. So it's super important for us to be able to feel good. I feel like that's super important for Bitcoiners. We like to work out and eat steaks and sun and
All the good stuff. I did even before this podcast. I'm like, I'm going to be staring at a computer screen for an hour or 2 hours. I'm like, I better go out in the sun for a little bit.
yep, I took a little bit of a walk.
Charge up my body for a little bit, and then I'll probably go do the same after if my son will cooperate with me. But I the so tell me a little bit about, okay, so you were a Bitcoiner first, figured all this stuff out, started making your business. You do accept Bitcoin. Everyone should check out the website. It's goldentallow.com if you want to get any of these products, and you can pay in Bitcoin. So I'm curious as to how many of your receipts are in Bitcoin, or have you seen an increase from the Bitcoin community and soliciting you? Just kind of what's been your experience with making that part of your business?
Yeah, so I use OpenNode right now. It was just really easy. I also go through Shopify, so it integrated, but I do have plans on going to BTC Pay server. I have a node. I just need to kind of set it up. I was going through, of course, BTC sessions that Ben runs, watching some of his tutorials on it. So I just need to set that up. With OpenNode, the reason, big reason I wanted to switch over to BTC Pay server, which is better because you're in control of all of it, right? But
Yep.
I'm having an issue where people are having their VPNs in different countries, or maybe they are in a different country trying to pay with Bitcoin and they're not able to see it pop up. So if anyone's having an issue, just change your VPN to the US. I'm not sure. I emailed them maybe over a year ago asking about it, and I'm not sure what's changed. I haven't had time to look back into it, but that's a big one. And
And
I'd
if you
say,
are running a VPN, get a VPN.
right, yes. And the other, I've probably had about 5 or 6 sales in Bitcoin so far. So kind of on maybe the lower end, but not too bad, of course. Um, and yeah, no, I'm having issues with storing it. Like, of course, for me personally, I use a cold card to cold storage my own Bitcoin and retirement and all that stuff. But I used an app that someone reputable that I knew was doing, and they ended up closing that and giving people maybe 6 months or so to like move their Bitcoin off of it. And I had it on a Lightning channel, which I didn't realize when someone else owns that Lightning channel, it wipes out. And if you have your seed phrase, you can't get it back necessarily. So I've reached out to them to try to work through that, but I did lose a little bit. It was like $100 or so of Bitcoin, so it wasn't like a tragic amount, but it is very, you have to be very strategic about how you're going to store your Bitcoin for your business.
You do, and that is actually one of the many things we do at Sovereign is help people get set up on that. I'm sorry to hear that. That is one of the value add type propositions we like to
Right.
say is that we will make sure you don't end up in that
Yeah.
situation. But also, I mean, there is for someone like you who's a sole owner, proprietor. Sometimes it's good to learn.
Right.
Sadly, all of us have learned a lot of lessons along the way. The ones where you lose sats stick the hardest. That's for sure. I promise you, I have not forgotten any of the lessons where I ended up losing Bitcoin. That's for sure.
Same. Yeah. There's been like when you have a business, so many people are trying to scam you or get your money or like do this and that, provide services that don't really help your bottom line. It's interesting.
It is hard, and everyone's trying to sell you everything, and it's how do you differentiate yourself? How do you prove you provide value? And we live in a world where you're being sold something 100% of the day.
Right.
I shouldn't say 100% of the day, but when you're online, when you're in social platforms that aren't NAS, you're being sold something, and you're constantly being bombarded with ads, even just walking around your town or your city or whatever, and it's a nonstop uh, exercise for your brain to sort of parse out what's important and what's not. And we certainly haven't done ourselves any favors in that department, for sure.
Yeah, I think the constant stimulation is overwhelming people. It's making it harder to make a decision. I use ChatGPT a lot, and it mentioned about, I was asking it questions like this. That's how I kind of use it. Like, why is society overwhelmed and all this? And it mentioned about it being hard to even pick out a water bottle. And I laughed because, yeah, I was online trying to pick out a water bottle a while ago, and I couldn't pick one out.
I feel the same way. I'll go on Amazon. I did this just happened to me. I went on Amazon and I knew the size of my air filter I needed in my uh, for my furnace or my HVAC unit, and then it's like 19 different options in terms of the like filtration levels, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, well, is more good because I want air to pass through, or is less good or sorry, is more good because I wanted to filter out more stuff, is less good because then the air can pass through and your system doesn't work, and like I was just I honestly I gave up. I'm like, I'll come back to this another time. I was like, I don't need the filter right now, I'll just deal with this later.
I gave up
um,
on the water bottle too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. There's just too much stuff. It's funny you say the water bottle thing. I even feel that way in my own house. I have like a cupboard full of water bottles and Yetis and different stuff. And I'll sit there and I'll catch myself. I'm like, yo, you just spent 30 seconds like figuring out which container you're going to put water into. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Just grab one. But it's just because there's options there. Whereas if there was just one stupid cup, I would just take that one, and guess what? It would hold water and I'd be fine. But no, I trying to choose between all this ridiculous nonsense.
Two things off of that. I understand why CEOs wear a lot of the same t-shirts, just black t-shirts all the time, and
Oh,
like sizing that down. And also carnivore diet makes it very easy too. I'm just eating steak and eggs every day and maybe some other, chicken or whatever. Yeah, it makes it so much easier when it's just like that's what you're going to do today, and it's like you get so much more done when you don't have to think about these low-level decisions.
that's what I've just decided every time I'm recording a video podcast, I'm putting this shirt on. I got two of them, and it's going on. And that's so
Nice.
fun. That's so funny you say that about the carnivore diet. I can't tell you how many people are like, "Oh, dude, I love having all these options, and I love eating cookies, and oh, I love getting Thai food, and then I love getting Korean food, and then I love getting." I'm just like, you have no idea how much time you're wasting. Like when you're just like, then the only thing I'm choosing between is which cut of beef I'm doing. Are we gonna have a roast, a steak, or ground beef? Like that's it. That's what I'm choosing between. And then, it's either going in the oven or on the grill. Like,
Right?
yeah. And are my eggs fried or scrambled? Like that's pretty much it. And
So nice.
it's so nice, and it's simplified my life. I mean, I remember, oh gosh, back when corporate America, before I was a big one, you would spend 45 minutes going back and forth over email about where we were going to eat. And oh no, we had pizza yesterday and we had salads on Tuesday. So today's going to be a burger. And it's just like, what are we doing? And
Seriously,
so,
yeah. Now it's either barbecue spots, steakhouses, sushi, and that's
yes.
almost it.
Yeah, where's a burger spot I can take the bun off of? And yeah, is there a steakhouse or yeah, or barbecue? That's another yeah. Just go load up on some brisket. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I'm curious along those lines. Like I have had such a hard time convincing people of this. They're like, "Oh, I love my bread or I love my cookies." And it's like, "No, you're actually just addicted. You don't actually love these things. You have a chemical reaction the same way a junkie does to whatever they're trying to get in their body." And like um but it's really hard to get. And the same thing with the stuff you're making, even the extra virgin olive oil, the cold press, like, you know, you stop eating seed oils. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm curious as to what your sort of response has been with people around you for making something like this, knowing knowing why you did it.
Yeah, it's really difficult because, like you said, it's an addiction that people don't realize they have until you do go on something like carnivore diet and you can't stop eating the sugar, and you're like, oh wait, like I didn't know it was gonna be this difficult to like not want M&Ms or like Oreo cookies or something like that, or chocolate chip cookies from everywhere. But it really hits you hard, and then you gotta like work through that because your health is more important. But I have family members that are going through some stuff that I'm trying to explain to them for a while, and everyone knows I'm on carnivore diet, friends and family, of course. But even sending screenshots of YouTube comments of these people that have reversed like 7 different ailments, they just aren't like seeing it, and it's very weird. And I'm like, you have to track your food, and they're like, well, that's not going to change like what I'm eating. But I'm like, no, no, but you need to know like how far over like of carbs and sugar you're going. And I'm like, you don't know exactly how much you're eating, and you're probably eating way more sugar than you even can conceptualize. Like it's just probably like, I was trying to explain it, like you're probably eating, I don't know, 200 grams of sugar, and maybe you're cutting it back to 100, but 100 is still a lot. You should be maybe, I don't know the exact numbers. I try not to eat any sugar at all, but maybe 25 grams or something. I don't know. Right?
And if you get any sugar, get it from fruit, none of the processed stuff. Like, are you finding the same thing with your products? Like, people are like, no, I'm good with my Neutrogena, or I'm good with my Sephora, or whatever. Have you found similar stuff, or?
Um, Not necessarily. I feel like I just push out a lot of content. I'm trying to grow my mailing list a bunch, and more of attracting it into the company. I have reached out to some boutiques. Some didn't answer, some said they weren't buying more inventory, some were more so like you have to like rent out shelf space, or it's kind of that kind of thing. Or they already had tallow and they already
Yeah.
had a brand that they used. So I haven't gotten into any stores yet. That's definitely one of my next ventures to do. It's all been single customers right now, and wholesale is totally where it's at. But I haven't like cold pitched many people, just more so people who follow me. And I've done a lot of social media, so I can figure out where my target audience is if I go down like certain hashtags or search different things and interact with those types of people. So it's a high likelihood that those people, because it's still, Golden Tallow is still kind of in its infancy, so it's good to get those people. And like I said earlier, that I would like to eventually go out to more of the newbie people who don't know about it. I think running Google ads in that sense, running different campaigns would more so be the strategy behind that. Or maybe at farmers markets, I have commercial insurance through this the soap guild, so that's a crazy thing in itself too. Big companies like Geico or Progressive, they don't help small skincare businesses or similar at home stuff because it's very risky. You're putting it on your face, and I don't know if there's maybe some more behind that as well too. Conspiracy theories and whatnot. But
Well, I
yeah,
don't think they're conspiracy theories. I don't think there's any doubt that the entrenched bureaucratic regime would like to remain entrenched in a bureaucratic regime.
right. There's a little bit of that in there. So
I, um, so are you on Nostr, by the way?
I am, yes, Golden Tallow, and I'm on Nostr. I'm more of anonymous on Nostr though, and I haven't posted as much. I use the platform or interface Damas with it.
Yeah,
I can't even remember what my username or whatever. I'm just anonymous.
you're well. I would highly encourage you to get on there, and a lot of the people we've had on this podcast are individuals like yourself, um, and I found them on Nostr, and there is a huge support for entrepreneurs, people accepting Bitcoin on Nostr, and people love to get the circular economy, the medium of exchange part of Bitcoin going, and I would highly encourage you to get on there. Certainly, when we release this interview, I'll post this on there to the extent you want to use that as an opportunity to
Nice.
further your presence on
Yeah,
there.
I'll retweet it and whatnot. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Whenever it very first started, that's when I got on, and it was very new, and it was an echo chamber, and
Oh, it's still an echo chamber, but I mean, it's
yeah,
all. I shouldn't say it's still an echo chamber. Very Bitcoin heavy, but it is great for people like yourself who
right.
are taking the time, who are putting the proof of work in, who are making a quality product, and people really do value that. And I'm one of those people. I mean, every single person I've had on this podcast, I've bought their product, and even people I haven't. Some people have said, I just don't feel comfortable coming on. I'd like to keep some anonymity, or maybe English isn't my first language, other things. But I'm one of those people who I'm like the worst person to ask, but what can you buy with Bitcoin? I'm like, well, I'm
Well,
wearing like three things I bought with Bitcoin. So just on me, there's that. Then, I have all sorts of stuff around my house. A lot of my food is purchased with Bitcoin, and so um, it is really cool to see that community on Nostr, and just
yeah.
the high quality ingredients and products
Yeah,
that
I
people.
need to post more on there for sure. And going off of what I've bought a leather belt from the Leather Mint. That's a
I'm
really
wearing
high.
mine right now. Yeah,
Nice. Yeah. I've gotten beefsteak tickets, of course. That was great. I bought skincare from like a pharmaceutical website from across seas just to test it out a while ago. That was crazy to be able to do that. It like came from like India or somewhere. I don't even know what country, but it was like a skincare thing I wanted to try out.
yeah. I had to buy my ivermectin from Canada with Bitcoin during.
Yes. That's how I found that website, actually. It was one that had the ivermectin on it. I didn't get ivermectin, but it was nice to know where I could get it if I needed it.
Was it Happy Food Store or something like that? It was some
No, it's like
food.
md-farm.com or something
Okay,
like that. Something similar to that. Don't quote me on it.
okay, not the same one I was on, but yeah, I was, illegally smuggling ivermectin into someone in my home who died COVID, and it's still just absolute madness
Yeah.
that ever. Um, uh, oh, I had something else I was gonna say, and now I forgot it.
But yeah,
Um,
conference tickets too. You can buy those with Bitcoin.
yeah,
You can buy a lot. And you can get gift cards now and basically do anything with those.
yeah, agreed. I mean, the Visa gift cards, a Bit refill. I mean, there's there's just so many options. It's it is crazy how much you can do with it, and that is part of the reason I love being on Noster is watching people really embrace that part of the community and using it as such. So
Eventually, for my business, I'll loan against it when better, finance like instruments come out. Different companies. I think OnChain might have a business focused one. They got rid of their personal individual ones, but some kind of company like that let in, or I'm not sure. I have to look into these. It is very sketchy to loan against it, but like a small portion of your stack you're loaning against and then paid off real quick. I don't think that that's bad. And for your business, if you have a good reason to use it, to
yeah, of course. I mean, listen, Bitcoin is money. It is supposed to be used as money, and if part of that money is capital investment into your business, if you were going to sell that Bitcoin anyways, you would no longer have that. So you're not selling your whole stack to convert to dollars. You're selling a very small portion to do something with your business. So if you want to take a small portion of it and borrow against it instead of selling it, I personally don't really see how it's any different. If you've made the decision that you're going to go ahead and use your capital, Bitcoin, and your money, Bitcoin, for a business investment, then whether you sell it or borrow against it, you're giving up title to your Bitcoin either
right.
way.
True. Yeah.
So at least if you're borrowing, you might get it back later.
Yeah.
It may go up, and you know you may be able to pay off the loan and still retain some of it. But again, listen, as I've said it before on here, but I think Jack Mahler said it best, which is that is like fire. It can either heat your home or burn it down. It's cool while we're stuck in fiat land, unfortunately. Listen, I said it earlier today on a podcast I recorded with Ted from Orange Wheel that yeah, you may say you're fully on a Bitcoin standard, but guess what? Your energy company's taking dollars. So you may pay your energy bill from some app where it converts your Bitcoin to fiat, but you are still giving fiat to someone to provide you a service. So as long as there's third parties in your life providing you anything and they're taking dollars, you still have to get from Bitcoin to dollars. So, spare me, please come down from Mount Pius and understand that we are in a transition period where we are interacting with both a superior and inferior monetary network. And we just have to live with that and deal with that. And unless you just want to go full caveman in the woods, full homestead, I don't even know why you even need Bitcoin at that point. You can just be completely self-sufficient. You don't need civilization or infrastructure or anything like that. So
Sometimes I think about doing that. It sounds like a good time.
I know it does sound it does. My wife and I were talking about moving here pretty soon, and we want some more land, and we want to be able to have chickens, and it's like, yeah, how close can we get to the full self sufficiency? But I did see my aunt and uncle. They were still working corporate jobs, but they were down in Texas and they bought a giant 45-acre plot of land. They had cattle on it. They had their own garden. They sourced everything. They harvested their own. And I mean, it was a full time gig, and they got burnt out. They got completely burnt out on it. So it's there's trade offs for sure to going that route for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot. I've taken care of chickens before, and I've thought of like getting a farm to have cows for golden tallow whenever it does like scale, and I would totally need someone to manage that for me. There's no way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then when it's just you and your wife and maybe some kids, but probably that aren't of age to provide any significant help around a farm, it's that's tough. Whereas civilization is emerged from humanity for a reason, so it made things easier and streamlined them and provided all sorts of efficiencies. So. Um, but anyways, that's a bit of a jag. So along those lines of potentially scaling golden tallow and everything. Where are you at now in terms of your production? You're just doing everything by hand
Yeah.
and all yourself, and
Yeah, everything is made here. I whip it all up. I whip all three ingredients together. I have been putting it in the jars by hand with like a cupcake like decorating thing.
oh,
Eventually, I'm gonna upgrade to getting one of those jar fillers. I've found the equipment that I want to use for that, but I filled the batch was like 500 for a batch, so I do all of those batches by hand. And
oh,
I just got a really cool metal seal. Well, it's not metal, it's like foil seal for the cap. Because one thing when I first got into this business, I wasn't thinking very often, right? Because, you know, a lot of things that were happening personally for me, but then getting laid off and then not finding a job, I kind of just dived into it because I saw, like, oh, that might work. I didn't think about it expiring, and
uh,
because there's no additives, that didn't
yeah,
click when week one when I'm filling out the LLC paperwork. And then the other thing that I didn't think through was seasonality. Shipping during the summer and it melting wasn't something that crossed my mind either at that time when I was throwing thousands of dollars into the startup cost of all of it. So it's been a fun ride to figure out how to do dry ice. You have to have a special sticker for dry ice and be up to like code, and different shipment companies have their own policies around how much dry ice you can have in a box, and all the you have to buy a cooler box and all the dimensions. Is my box going to fit in this box? it's it's been pretty flawless, but there,
yeah.
I mean, maybe one or two instances where like it shipped and it got melted, and then it spilled out. But now that I have that machine with the foil, it's going to be okay, and I'm more confident in shipping during the summer now, which is good. But that's been pretty crazy.
So if it melts down and doesn't leak out, will it reform, or does it completely lose its form and substance?
Well, the whipped part, yeah, it'll turn like into, you know, just more like a balm, but you can use a hand mixer or, you know, like a KitchenAid mixer and whip it back up and, you know, put it back in the jar. Nothing's wrong with it or anything. It's okay if it like melts down and like nothing changes with like the vitamins, nutritions, and all that other stuff in it. But yeah, so to try to get it in that whipped consistency, I do dry ice and I ship it like overnight to try to get it there the next day. So that's part of the luxury though, like convenience, right? And fast shipping.
Of
So
course. Yeah. I mean, we get occasionally we'll order, speaking of Wagyu, we'll order from Snake River Farms
nice.
and,
Yeah.
and get some, high end stuff for the holidays or a special date night or something like that. And yeah, that stuff always comes in dry ice. And the second I see that, I'm ripping it open, throwing it in the freezer. And so, yeah, I don't know uh, all the steps that come with shipping dry ice. But every time I get that package, I always think, oh man, this has to be a huge pain. But
It gets easier for sure, but it is not every, like I use UPS and not every single store takes it, or you know, not every single FedEx takes it. You have to go to the customer care center, this and that. It's a process for sure.
and how does one source dry ice? Like if you asked me to go find dry ice, I don't think I can. I think I would be like in an alley somewhere, like looking for some shady dude. How do you even get dry ice?
That's the other thing I had to first I Googled it, and then just go to like Google Maps and see where different dry ice is near you. And then of course asking ChatGPT like different methods as well. I'm a very big ChatGPT person and like how to make my life better and easier
Sure.
doing it. So I think UPS, they have a program where they'll actually come to your house and fill and box everything for you with the dry ice. So I need to call around to a bunch of these people. And also I need to fill out paperwork for international dry ice shipments too, through DHL.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, it's so crazy starting a business and doing, even as we're at Sovereign. I mean, we're kind of like basically an internet company, for lack of a better term, whatever. But just the amount of things that you learn along the way, you're just like, how would I have ever thought of this? Like in a thousand years, I would have never thought of this. So.
Yeah, you take it day by day, step by step, for real.
All right, so I got a hard hitting, challenging question here. Put you in the hot seat. So there's some people out there that sell lard-based products, and they swear by the lard over the tallow. So now, me personally, I like both. I've bought both. I enjoyed them both. The I use the lard products for my hands. The tallow I've kind of used for sunburn, and for lip balm. But what say you on the hot lard versus tallow debate there?
Well, I haven't tried lard yet, but I will say I have tried castor oil, and I really like castor oil. I think I'm a fan of just all natural products, and I probably will create some more mixtures and ingredients in future products for sure. And like some people can't do tallow because they're allergic to beef and or one reason or the other. So I think it's great that there's like other options out there.
Awesome. That was kind of my thinking as well. That similar thing. It's like three ingredients, and it's natural stuff, and all the animals are raised without hormones and all that good stuff. So I was kind of the same belief, but I didn't know if there was like a Tupac Biggie beef, no pun intended, between like the tallow and the lard people.
No,
But
just the vegans hate me.
well, I hate everyone. I mean, mainly it starts with their dad, and then they hate everyone else. So
Right, yeah. No, I understand what they're trying to do, but
they're just misguided. Yeah, they like I said, they hate their dad, and then they take it out on the rest of society, and then we all have to suffer and listen to them. So
exactly, yeah.
yeah. As you so when I didn't even ask you this, when did Golden Tallow start?
I started it in March 2023.
Okay. And how much growth have you seen um, since then?
So
Probably
that's a
it's
good
zero.
question because um when I first started, I did pre-sales and it was a lot of Bitcoiners and friends. Also, I'd grown a lot on social media, not like a lot, but like a decent amount. People bought off my mailing list and it was like rolling pretty good. I had enough money to start doing Google ads. And so I spent about maybe $1,500 on Google ads. And then I had $500 as well, credit from Google ads. And I was breaking even on those. Um, I probably should have just kept going with that and doubling down. But at that time, of course, had been unemployed for like 8 months, living off of savings and unemployment. So it was very like, do I spend more money on this or not? And I was also doing other gig work too. I was dog sitting and affiliate marketing and whatever else like you can think of. I was, doing that kind of stuff as well on top of this. And of course investing in like Bitcoin related stocks and things like that, which helped out a lot. But like I'd say it's very nerve wracking when you've never done a business before and it's your first one and you're at that point where you're like, oh, I'm seeing success and maybe I should double down. But like there was like a week or two where it wasn't converting and I was just kind of like, I spent $100 and I should have made a sale and it was kind of early and it's kind of like, risk management at that point, right? And like, do I spend another $200 and then just trying to figure out how to like do that if I don't make the sales and stuff like that. So ended up I at this point I had stopped looking for jobs because like 800 jobs was already a lot and I was like, I'm just gonna bet on myself because this is the best thing to do anyway with the fiat currency and thinking through a salary and all that. But since I had stopped applying, I guess one of my friends saw what I was doing and they referred me to a marketing position and I got that remote position. It was at University of Phoenix and I worked there for about 6 months or so. And I kind of thought, oh, like working at a big company like that in the marketing department, maybe I'll learn a lot more. And I was kind of starting to see I wasn't learning as much in the role. I was a scrum master position per se, which was interesting because I don't know how scrum master really fits with marketing. It does, but it doesn't. It's more for tech and it's easier to explain to the team like why you're valuable in tech because the devs get paid so much. It's like, well, if I cut this meeting off by 10 minutes when you guys keep going and talking, like that's saving the company thousands of dollars and I make up my salary because I cut the meeting off early basically. I do other things too as a scrum master, but like that's a big one. um And, I won't get into that rabbit hole, but yeah, I started working there and I stopped posting online for Golden Tallow. And things kind of slowed down for those 6 months. And I was really like, man, I don't know. I'm getting kind of nervous. Like, I have cut down a lot of my costs, and I don't know if I want to do this 9 to 5 life or if I should just like go into other stuff. And I had some investments, of course, Bitcoin related, MicroStrategy, different things that were like helping me. And I was, making more than like my salary at that point with some of the stuff that I was investing in. So that helped a lot to put into Golden Tallow, as well as be like, why am I at this job when my mindset and ideas around money is changing so much, and I'm not like trying to exchange my time for money. I'm trying to provide value and scale, and yeah, just like detach time and money. So I ended up quitting there to focus on Golden Tallow more, and it's picked up again, of course, because you just have more time and energy to focus on it, and what you focus your energy on grows. So if anyone's wondering if they should, you should definitely try to get to the point where you can leave, even if it's like you don't have to be rich, you just like you're getting by, right? Like bet on yourself at that point and go and get it, because the salary, you're going to be working your whole life, in my opinion. Maybe unless you have a bunch of Bitcoin, which most people listening to this podcast probably do, but you know.
I don't know about that. Not everyone has a ton of Bitcoin. We're all humble stackers, but yeah, I just gave a speech in Prague about that exact thing. So near and dear to my heart, just getting to a point where you just say, I just can't give my time and energy to this other position anymore. I need to go do something else that I'm passionate about, and it doesn't have to be in Bitcoin. It can
Right.
be just like you're doing, something you're passionate about, skincare products, selling for Bitcoin, and it just getting out of sort of the man. Like I don't know about you, but it just all those tasks that I had to do, they were just so unfulfilling and so they weren't even like demoralizing. They were just like a hard zero. It was just a big fat nothing always. It was like I don't. I'm getting nothing out of this. I'm not seeing any value. No one's been helped by this. Like no one's happier. No one cares. This is report number 500 that people aren't going to read, and you're just like, what am I doing here? And yeah, I couldn't agree more. Take the leap, bet on yourself, and yes, having Bitcoin and some savings, it will absolutely give you the confidence to go do it. And man, I can't push on that enough to
Yeah.
have people. And I was just on the Flood Chain Radio podcast with Avi Burra and UW on Noster as well. And we talked about this for an hour and a half, just how fulfilling and rewarding it is. So if you need any more inspiration, go listen to that podcast as well. I can't recommend it enough. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear you kind of came full circle. So the other thing I ask business owners too, and especially people like you who are single owner, making everything by hand, do you want to scale? Do you want to grow this thing? Is there a level where you're like, hey, if I got to this, I'm comfortable. I'm not trying to turn into the next Sephora. But or maybe you do want to. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just always curious as to how people view their business and where they're going.
It's such a fun question because I think about this a lot. When I first got into this, I was, and I still am, like, yeah, I want to be in like Sephora, maybe not Sephora, but like big chains that like I like, big department stores, just make it easier. I always kind of want to stay boutique. I am not on Amazon and other ones right now, any third parties. I've thought about it. Still kind of thinking about it. I really want to hone in on the brand and luxury aspect of it. So I'm still trying to work through in my mind if that's something that I want to do. So I'm going to be really picky about who I partner with when I do things. Um, and then the other side is just like keeping it smaller. It's easier, less issues and different things. But I do think I want to make it bigger. I think hiring a bunch of people is nice. Like, I hope to create a culture where it's not very stressful and your nervous system isn't wrecked from the 9 to 5. And maybe it's not a 9 to 5 or like a certain week. As long as you're just getting your work done, you know. I haven't scaled to like really test out these models, but I have a business degree and like, I've done management positions and all that kind of stuff, obviously. Studied a lot about startups in college too, different business structures and things. And maybe there just needs to be like a new one that hasn't really been like happened yet. I just want people to like enjoy working there.
100. I mean, I love that too. I love that. That's another such an underrated thing too. All these Bitcoiners going to start these companies and build them out and grow them. You're basically going to start providing a life raft for people to leave their job, to go and to go take that risk, to go do something else. I That excites me so much that we're going to brain drain so many people from just all these worthless desk jockey, for lack of a better term, positions that people are stuck in, they hate, they don't want to be doing, and giving them an opportunity to go work somewhere where they actually feel valued. And that is sort of at Sovereign, that's kind of like the final utopic step we have, where we could step in to your company after we told you about Bitcoin, onboarded you into Bitcoin, done some financial planning around it. Now, lastly, let's go explain to your company why you did this, why you're going to explain to your employees why they matter, that this is a long-term vision, that we want you here not as some, big cog in the wheel, that you're an employee that's valued. And because we value you, we want to pay you in Bitcoin. We want you to understand Bitcoin. And this business is being built to stay around for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, pass on to the next generation and last into perpetuity, because that's what we believe in. We don't believe in March 31st and June 30th and September 30th numbers and what do they look like. That this is a place where we're cultivating an attitude and a culture of long-term thinking, of low time preference, and we want you to be a part of that. And I am so excited because I know all these Bitcoiners going to start businesses like yourself. That one day that all of those Bitcoiners that went and did that will have that environment, will have that culture of their business, and it'll just be so much more fulfilling for people to go to work and actually do something they care about, be around people they care about, and actually want to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And Bitcoin allows that because, when money isn't broken, it gives you so many more opportunities to not be in that fight or flight, or like, is your business going to survive or not? And you're doing layoffs. It's more of like, oh, I can hire even more people so that like your vacation is covered by someone and you don't have to like actually freak out, and you can take 3 months of vacation off. And like, we actually have multiple other people who are like there. You can relax.
You can start actually providing cushions in your business, so you're not running everything on razor thin
Yeah.
uh, expenses, and because your money's not being destroyed every single day. And there's just so many more options, possibilities, and I mean, I personally think it will just bring such sanity back into the workforce, and this hamster wheel 9 to 5 mentality. Well, and to your point, you know, back in the day, people didn't go to work every single day. They took weeks off at a time or months off at a time, and they would go do something because they had savings that they could rely on. And they knew that, hey, if I come back in 8 months, my money's still going to be worth what it was. I don't have to constantly keep paying all this stuff. I can plan for the future. And that is the way people used to own their trades or run their shop or whatever. And there's just no reason we can't get the business atmosphere, back to something like that. To your point, where okay, maybe you're not there, but someone else is doing the job, and then maybe when you're back, that person goes, and the availability is there, and it's not just a constant requirement that you're there every single hour of every single day just to make sure the thing functions.
Yeah, Bitcoin truly does fix a bunch of that. It also fixes women who have to work that maybe don't want to work, and it's going to solve the issues that we're having where two people are working to, provide for their apartment or the housing and their family. And mothers that want to be at home can actually stay at home, which is nice because I feel like sometimes I'll see on Twitter like people are mad, maybe the feminists, this and that or whatever, but I don't think a lot of women actually want to work. I think they have to because they like food and like they like to eat.
Yeah.
And everyone's scrambling and the money devaluing makes it harder to go on dates, and it's crazy how money affects every single little tiny aspect of society.
I mean, that one's near and dear to my heart. I mean, there is no doubt I didn't get married, and I'm actually very thankful because my wife is amazing. I'm glad I waited for her, for sure. I mean, probably the greatest decision I've made in my life. But even starting a family and buying a house, just all these things were delayed so much longer. It was kind of, I can't afford that. I can't afford to get married. What do I'm going to pay for someone else, or like, that's, and even saying both of us were, we earn very good incomes compared to most people in society. And even that is like, we're in a 2 bedroom, 2 bath condo and we do save a lot, but like at the same time, we're not living high off the hog. And, you know, we have a 11-year-old car that's been paid off for 6 years and we have one of them. And, just, it's by no means, the way it used to be in terms of how far your money could go and what you could get for it. And the destruction of sort of the traditional household. And not that everyone needs to have that, of course, do whatever you want. But I think a lot of people do want that, but they're, like you said, they're forced into not being able to have that option. And that alone, it just, not even just the demoralization of the job itself, but the fact that you're forced into it and that you don't have an option to opt out of that. Like you don't, you feel like you don't have control at work because you don't have control because you're reporting to 9 different people. And then you also don't have control that you actually have to be at work. And like that, it's like a double 1-2 punch of demoralization.
Yeah, you feel stuck and you're too tired after work. You just kind of like go doom scroll or like you're in bed. Maybe you hit the gym and like eat dinner, but then that's it. They literally take so much of your time. It's insane.
Yeah,
I feel for
and
people.
I do too. I mean, listen, I did it. My wife's still doing it. I'm trying to slowly get her out of that. She, she still wants to work, so that's fine. But it is crazy. I mean, it's your day is shot. You basically get an hour of free time during the week, maybe. Um,
Right.
uh, between getting ready for work, commuting to work, coming back from work, dinner, like you said, the gym, or just any sort of just a walk or something healthy, exercise. And you got, I mean, truly, you got 30 minutes to an hour to yourself to like
Yeah.
do something. And then when you have kids, that's 30 minutes to an hour with your kid, and like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then sometimes clients are calling you after work too. On top of
Oh
that.
my God, all the time. I mean, I can't tell you how just not having emails on my phone anymore. Oh
Yeah.
my God. When I was in the corporate world, all the time, texts, emails, 8:30 at night. Hey, can you hop on a call? Hey, this happened. We got to address this now. And it's like, oh my gosh. And I mean, you did need to do the stuff did need to get done, but it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful
Yeah, every
sometimes.
morning I'd have like 100 emails or
Oh,
80 emails. It's just, a lot of it was like just spam. Like I would click through delete for like maybe 20 or 40 of them. Some of them had to be responded to, some of them I had to save, but every morning, like, geez.
oh, yeah. I remember getting up and like dreading it, just being
Yeah.
like, what do I have to curate now? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
working at Bitcoin Magazine and the conference and having that Bitcoiner experience, it made it very difficult to go to that other remote University of Phoenix job, even for those 6 months. I was like, I can't do it. They ruined me.
Well,
It was so fun working there, you know?
I mean, when I was still at my job, I was doing a lot of stuff volunteer in the Bitcoin space, just trying to work. I was working with Kelly Lannon on a Bitcoin mortgage product. I was helping people bit devs. I was onboarding people, all sorts of different stuff. And it was like, I'll actually enjoy doing this. And then when I went back to work, oh gosh, or we'd be just talking about something that I don't want to talk about any of this. I don't care. Like I want to talk about something that matters, please. Like it doesn't even have to be Bitcoin, but just like something of importance, family, God, food, like it just
Oh my
anything
gosh.
but this.
They,
So
yeah, we get on these conference calls every day and they're talking about a TV show, and I'm just like, what? I don't watch reality TV show. I'm an audiobook person. I'm sure most Bitcoiners read a bunch of books, right? So it's so crazy how different they are. It's so hard for small talk even.
I mean, oh gosh, I remember during like the heart of COVID mania, it was just like, so what are you watching on Netflix? If you watch
Yeah.
this one, it's like just like, is
It's like,
this our
no.
life? Like we're just locked in our pods and forced to all watch the same crap. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? It's like, no, we tried to get outside. Oh, we actually traveled. We got out of the state of Illinois because it's a prison, and went somewhere you could actually walk around without a mask and be with normal people. Like, it just, it was so surreal. It just, yeah, to your, all the conversations were just, I mean, talk about just babbling and nonsense. So.
Yeah. I think the only pleasant conversations were like seeing their pets or something, their dogs, or that was about
Yeah,
it. That's all I could tolerate with them.
well, and even when they would talk about their kids, they'd be like, "Well, they're not allowed to go back to school," or "Oh, they're forced to take 9 injections to keep their enrollment," and it's just like it was everything was so, so depressing. It was like
Yeah,
I can't,
depressing.
I can't be a part of this. I'm not even in this world. Like it doesn't even. Uh, I'm just not living the same life as you people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I try to help them a little bit. I talk about this and that, but I'm like, I don't know how much I I should go there with like normies. It's a very delicate process.
So delicate, especially. I mean, I remember saying some stuff during like outdoor lunches for business about COVID and stuff. I'm just seeing people in their chairs like squirm and oh my gosh, I don't know how to respond to this. And I was like, okay, I'll leave this one. You're clearly uncomfortable. Probably
Yeah.
not. You're probably mad. I am not like eating or putting my mask on between bites. So sorry, buddy.
Yeah, people need to kind of find it on their own. I think they have to question things, and it's almost a spiritual journey to get there.
It is. It's that's been one of the things at Sovereign we've found. It's you really need like almost like a warm lead, someone that's already open to it. Like, okay, I'm willing to have an open mind about this. Tell me more about this. Or I've done a little bit of research. Fill me out here. The like cold intro. Hey, you need Bitcoin, and here's why. It's just yeah, man, it's just like doors slammed in your face, and it's really difficult to get people's attention that way. That if they're not kind of primed, ready to go, and willing to hear about something else, it's almost 100% chance you're getting rejected.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I wish back in 2020 I kind of realized a lot of this stuff and helped Bitcoiners and myself learn more about sales in a sense and the psychology of sales. Not that like Bitcoin needs sales, like Bitcoin doesn't need anything, Bitcoin doesn't need us, but like in order to talk to these people in a proper way and manner to really get them to understand, you do kind of have to be like a salesperson because they're just so like they just reject the idea of it so much.
No, I mean it's 100% true. I learned that lesson. I spent so many years being the Bitcoin evangelist, and it's like you know what,
It's
this
exhausting.
is actually doing a disservice to what I'm trying to do here. That I'm pushing too hard. People are actually digging in further the more I push on this. And just sort of stepping back into your point, I've never been in sales my whole life. I'm not a sales guy. That's why I brought on a sales team to do part of the work. Is definitely my strong point, but certainly realize these sort of okay, you need to prompt them to be ready to kind of come to you. That sort of mentality, as opposed to the like
Right.
push mentality. It's more like the receive mentality.
Right. yeah, find out why they need Bitcoin, what their pain points are, things like
Yes,
that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's been a big learning curve for me, that's for sure. And that's another thing too. We were talking about leaving, betting on yourself, going to do something like, yeah, it's going to be a massive learning curve. There's going to be a ton of curveballs along the way. You're not going to know what to do at a lot of times, and but that's part of growing and getting better. And life is not supposed to be, how do I stay as comfortable as possible until I die? Like, if that's your goal in life, I mean, wow, that's depressing.
I
I
think,
guess
yeah,
I guess
people,
I can't help you. Um, but it should be about more than that. And you should want to experience um, problems that you confront and then solve on your own. Like, that is actually rewarding and fulfilling, as opposed to, oh wow, I here's my paycheck. It's all set up to pay these bills, and this goes into savings, and great. I'll retire in 20 years, and that'll be that. Like, life can be rewarding, and I think some of that requires you confronting things and taking on new challenges.
yeah, I totally agree. It gives you an unhealthy mindset when you stop doing that, and depression and different mental diseases will pop up because of that, because your mind is just sick. And one of my favorite books, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, I think it's at the maybe the last chapter, talks about how you do need to continue to do things and learn and keep your brain exercised so that you don't you know
Atrophy.
yeah, go
Yeah.
backwards, and then you just kind of like dwindle away.
I mean, I look at, since I discovered Bitcoin and kind of I don't want to say rediscovered my faith, but it took it much more seriously than I was. Just how much more, how much time I was wasting with stupid things in my life, and just cutting those things out of my life. And to your point, being able to exercise your mind to actually dwell on things that matter, things that are good, important, and just how enriching that is. I feel so much sharper. I feel so much clearer. So I can I was going to say much more clear-headed, but I think that's grammatically correct and kind of disproves my point that I'm thinking clearly. So I didn't work out how I wanted it to, but my clarity of thought and a vision is absolutely been enhanced, cutting out all of this sort of all these distractions from life and all this drivel that really doesn't matter. And it is incredibly important. I feel like I'm much more productive. I feel like I'm a better person, better husband, better father, doing all those things because my mind is functioning the way it should be, as opposed me me doing the thinking and the controlling of my life, as opposed to someone else doing the thinking and controlling my life for me.
Oh yeah, totally. It's absolutely related, and how it shows up in your reality. Um, you know, if you're tired, then an opportunity comes up, you're not going to take it. Whereas you're well rested and you've been doing like carnivore diet, exercising, you've been regulating your nervous system, you're going to say yes to that opportunity. And even if that's not the big thing, maybe they know someone that knows someone, and then that big thing happens for you. So all these small little opportunities that pop up, really, it's a butterfly effect.
Saying yes and showing up.
Yeah.
That's
And knowing
uh,
when to say no too is good also. I've
yes, yeah, also so true, so true. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
you can get stuck doing a lot of stuff. The only thing more scarce than Bitcoin is your time, and you should allocate that better than you allocate your Bitcoin for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, use your Bitcoin to buy more of your time back.
100%. That is, I think that's a perfect note to go out on. So, uh, unless you have anything else you want to get to, Kid, anything else you want to say about your business, or if not, I'll ask where people can find you, and then we got to make sure to pump you on Noster as well.
Yeah, I'll go on Noster for the first time. It's probably been 3 years. I don't know. I'll go make a post, and I'll retweet this on there too. But yeah,
Yeah.
people can DM me asking me any business questions or whatever. You can follow me at kit_sats. It's my second account. I nuked my other one a while ago, so that is me. It's not a scammer.
No impersonators.
Yeah.
Um, you know, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. Go to goldentallow.com. That's the website. Obviously, I'm going to have to buy some of this for my wife. And
Nice.
so I would encourage the rest of you listening to check it out as well. Pick some stuff up. Know it's handmade and put into a jar with a cupcake squirter. Um, and that
Yeah.
there's a
Handmade
lot
with
of
love.
yeah, and know that there's a lot of people work behind this. So thank you,
Yeah.
Kip, and everyone have a great one.
Yeah, thank you so much.